episode of your favorite program, Let's Have a Chat with me, your host Marwa Khalid, in new episode with new subject, with new ideas, with new ways of building positivity. But before I say everything, I want to start this episode by sharing our thoughts with our brothers and sisters in El Junaina right now, with all this conflicts happening there. And for all the people who are listening to us right now, especially in the conflicts area, I just want to say something to you, that I just want all of us as a Sudanese to look to our heart, to find peace inside, like find peace, find the way that we could have a dialogue without choosing the gun as a way of expression. We can do that. We can start peace. We could start building. And as a country that actually teach the world how we could do a revolution, how we could change regime, I think we could change and we could teach the world how we can make peace. And we could remember those moments as a moment that we learned our lesson from, and we could start a new ways of how we could build this country and we can find this peace. So I call on all the people who are starting this conflict right now. Please, we are all Sudanese. Let's find our unity. Let's find that if we think that we are not tribes, we are not village, I think we could get there. We could build this country and we could start the next step. So this is a new episode of Let's Have a Chat. And we want to build positivity, but we cannot actually keep silent from what's happening there. We need to say that please, please, please stop what's happening there. This is a new song and just dedicated to say, please find peace. So Sausan today is changing the way, and I like that. So enjoy the first song. We are back again after sending this message through this song, because we believe in the power of music. We believe that there is nothing that could unite us more than listening to music. And let's start this episode by introducing our guest. But before I say that, I want to say, as the United Nations Secretary General always say, that the only flag that united us all is the UN flag. So I'm always honored and happy when I have a guest that related to this remarkable institution, an organization. So I'm so happy and honored to have with me Mr. Volker Perthes, UN Special Representative of the Secretary General for Sudan and head of the United Nations Integrated Transition Assistance Mission in Sudan, which is short for UNITAMS. Again, we are happy and honored to have you here in this interview and in this special episode.
Thank you very much, Marwa. It's a pleasure to be on your program, to be on, how do you say, Beladi 96.6.
Yes.
Real pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation, to our chat.
Yes, and I like the word chat, because when we say chat, we say it as it's more closer to the people. It could reach to many people, because when it's dialogue, people get intimidated somehow. So yeah, it's chat.
I'm a big fan of dialogues. I mean, that is what the UN does best, and
Yes.
It helps us over some of the difficulties and conflicts. Chats are good. Dialogues are often a little bit more concrete and committed.
Yeah, and exactly. You have agenda in your page, and you have to say something in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the dialogue, right?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, dialogue sounds more serious, but you can have serious chats, of course. And
yeah, and this
guess
is
we're
exactly
having
this is exactly what we trying to do through this show. And before we start talking about the mission of UNITAMS in Sudan, we want to start by introducing you yourself to our audience. So can you tell us more about you, a little brief about you and your history here? And I believe that you've been here before in Sudan.
Well, I've been visiting Sudan before, but
Yeah.
that was like 10 years, 11 years ago. It was short visits. I was a head of a think tank then in Germany.
Okay.
Sort of foreign policy, international relations think tank. And one occasion was that I was visiting Sudan to accompany a parliamentary delegation from Germany that was interested in finding out what actually is happening in Sudan. That was after the CPA and before the referendum, so there was a lot of interest in what is happening here. Now I've been here for two months in Khartoum.
Okay.
The new mission is operational now, so we are doing a couple of things. We are reaching out to both the authorities and to society. So we're meeting, of course, with the President of Sovereignty Council and with the Prime Minister and with the ministers, but we're also meeting with women groups, with youth groups, with journalists, with intellectuals.
And we're so glad that we know more about it. But if you could tell us more about, for the people who are listening to us right now and they want to understand this mission in more simple way, like first of all, is missions like that before been done by the United Nations to go to different countries?
Well, there have been similar political missions in other countries, but not in Sudan. In Sudan, there have been UN missions, but not political missions. And the missions that have been here in Sudan usually have had they all have had a peacekeeping force with them. That was the case for UNMISS, that was the case for UNAMID, that's the case for UNISFA, which is operating in Abyei.
Yes.
So, but we don't have a peacekeeping force. We don't have any soldiers in our mission. We are a mission to assist Sudan. That's in our name. There is, you see the big capital letters UN,
Yes.
and then I, which is for integrated, and then it is T for transition, that goes for your transition period, for the transitional period in Sudan, A for assistance, and then mission in Sudan. So it's UNITAMS. So we are here to assist the Sudan, and that means the government and the people, all of Sudan, over the transitional period. That is after the revolution until the Sudan has completed its transitional period to what we hope will be democracy and peace.
So that will actually lead me to ask you more practical question or detailed question about the UNITAM's mission. And as you said, it's a political mission here in Sudan. But we want to know about the expertise and the people who's going to be assistants. Are they just going to be embedded in the ministries, or they will take the consultancy models as we can see in different countries?
People are not embedded in ministries. That is what some of our UN agencies sometimes do. So you have some experts in the central bank or in the finance ministry, or you could have someone in the Ministry of Interior to help prepare the census, things like that. Most of us are working in our headquarters or in our regional offices, which we still have to set up in Darfur and in the two areas and in the east. And we have a very few people with a police background that are actually working very closely together with Sudanese police to train police men and police women in becoming, let's say, a modern police that is working under the rule of law and that is respecting human rights and that is respecting women's rights, etc. But this is a very small number altogether. It's not more than 20.
And they are they are not Sudanese nationality?
No. These are international police officers who come here to assist and to do training. Most of them have Arabic, actually, so they come from countries like Jordan and Tunisia. A few come from other countries without Arabic, but they will always work together with a colleague that speaks the language here and can work together with the Sudanese police. But that's a very small part of our mission. So the main parts of our mission, along of course with the SRSG, that is with myself, the special representative. So I have a political department. I do have a department for protection and prevention. That means protection of civilians. So we're going to help the Sudanese authorities here in becoming better, let's say, in protecting civilians. The political department will mainly deal with questions like peace processes, peace negotiations, peace implementation, but also elections and the constitutional process. And then, why is it called an integrated mission? That means that our mission, which is rather small, we will have no more than 250, 260 persons when we are fully built up. so that's small for a UN mission, that we are integrating our efforts together with all the United Nations agencies and funds and programs that are active in the country. That's UNICEF and UNDP and UN Women and UNFPA and others who are
So it will be
already.
like a coordination between...
So it is coordination and integration and having a common strategic framework for the work of the UN.
Of course, when people just... this could make the job easier and could make the result better. But all the mission is going to be people from the United Nations, or is going to be also... are you going to have jobs for the Sudanese people here in Sudan?
Yes, we do. We do offer jobs for nationals. We have about 45% of our staff are national staff. Of course, what we have, and that's a real challenge, I mean, when we have a job offering and it's in the internet and you can find it, so for one job, maybe 150 persons apply.
Oh, wow.
And so it means that 149 are not getting this job. So we're getting 149 people complaining that they didn't get the job and just one got the job. But look,
this is how the process
life.
goes.
That's life,
yeah.
and I think it goes the
and it's
same
a
way.
50-50. You got it or you don't. So yeah.
Exactly. So no, but we are trying to keep that number of, or that percentage of around 40-45% national staff. So of course it's a United Nations mission. So we have to make clear that actually the continents of the world, that the nations of the world are represented here. But at the same time, we make an effort, or I make an effort personally, to have a rather high number of national professionals in the mission.
Yeah, and then there will be, after like evaluation of the situation here in Sudan, I think there will be a report back to the United Nations there.
Oh yeah, I have to report very regularly, every 90 days. That is once every 3 months.
Okay.
It is the Secretary General writing a report or having a report being written by his staff. Of course, we give inputs, and then I have to give a briefing to the Security Council about the situation, the developments in Sudan, and of course our work as UNITAMs in order to do what our mandate demands us to do. And these are 4 main tracks, 4 strategic objectives. The one is to support the political transition process. That includes election, constitutions, rule of law, human rights.
The forming of the parliament, maybe also?
Well, we are not directly involved in forming the parliament because it's being appointed by agreement between the parties that that came together and agreed on the constitutional declaration and the Juba Peace Agreement. What we can do is we can push a little bit for speeding that up, but in the end, that's a Sudanese decision. It's not a UN decision. Then the second strategic track is the peace processes. Now we are going to have peace talks between the government and the SPLM North, Abdulaziz Hello.
Okay.
So, of course, the United Nations will be involved here and facilitate and support. Then it is about peace building, which is probably the most difficult, because signing a peace agreement is rather
it's just
simple,
the first step,
rather easy, and then you have to build peace, which is much more difficult, and we are seeing this sadly.
And I think that need to talk to the local people.
You have to work with the local people, and
go to the field a lot.
You have to address the root causes of the conflict, and you have to speak about land and land use, and you have to speak about rule of law, and you have to speak about how you treat civilians, how the police and the military treat civilians, all this. And the fourth strategic track is to help Sudan get access to international economic support and investments. So here I have to address the international community to help Sudan economically.
Oh, I think this is another challenge, but we need to stop for other break, and then we will continue in this interesting discussion. So let's go to the break, Susan. Actually, my message to all the Sudanese people who are listening to us right now, hold on for one more day, because tomorrow will be better. Things will be better here in Sudan. It will never be difficult. Every country goes through those kind of process sometimes, especially after revolution. Right, Mr. Volker?
Well, that's true. And we can all agree that in the future it will be better. And usually that's right. But of course, it needs real work. I mean, you cannot just hope that it's going to be better. You have to contribute to making it better.
Yeah.
And let me be honest with you, and since we are speaking to young people here,
Yes.
there is one phenomenon which I've seen in Sudan, that many people sort of rely on the United Nations or foreign countries and think we will fix it for them. No, we're not going to fix it for them. We can help, we can support, we can give advice, and the international community also can give some money, but in the end it's the Sudanese who have to fix it. I mean, you did your revolution yourself, right?
Yes.
So don't expect us to do the rest.
Yeah. The magic wand.
There's no magic wand. I mean, sometimes in the social media, on Twitter or Facebook, there are messages like, Volker, you're here. Are you going to fix electricity for us? No, I'm not going to fix electricity for you. This is something which the Sudanese have to do. And yes, of course, you can say where you need international support. And yes, I'm going to help to raise international finance for that. We're having this investors conference in Paris where we will speak for Sudan and try to get money into it. But in the end, the Sudanese have to get their act together. The Sudanese have to work. And also for young people, I was in Kassala 3 weeks ago. And I was very happy meeting some young people there in a cafe which young people had founded. So it was it was an enterprise which young people had set up. And these young people were all doing something where they had created something.
Okay.
They had set up a small business or something. Someone said, look, I studied engineering. I was expecting to be employed in the public sector, but then I didn't get the employment, so I started my own business. And I thought, exactly, that's what you should do. I mean, you, the young people, the young generation, you have to do something. Don't wait for the state to employ you. Don't wait for the United Nations to fix things. The more you do yourself, the more your assistance will get. The more you show that you are masters of your own destiny, the more the international community will be prepared to support you.
Thank you so much for this. And actually, in Let's Have a Chat, this is exactly what we're trying to do. When we have people who have successful stories and come and sit in the same chair or you sitting right now, and they start saying that we graduate from a different, maybe a specialty, but we didn't want to stay without a job. We work on ourselves. We start our own initiatives. We did our best to be in this position that we are in today. And this is actually what I'm trying to do here in Beladi Radio and in Let's Have a Chat, to highlight those kind of things, to encourage people to do that. And hopefully we will carry on this, inshallah.
I'm sure you will.
So, talking about Facebook, actually we are using this segment to actually try to tell you a little bit about social media and, you know, a lot of things circulating right now. And we know some of those kind of things has been things that exaggerated by people in Facebook, because Facebook right now is a little bit going crazy somehow. So let's start by talking about kind of things that people could say in Facebook, and I hope that it's just things that people say. Some people say, like, you're here to colonize us. That's one of the things that are very famous and circulating all around Facebook, and we want you to respond to those people.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to respond to that, and I'm reading these comments sometimes, and I don't know whether I should laugh or should I cry, or should I simply tell people who are saying that they should do their homework. I mean, they should start looking into the Security Council resolution that brought the mandate for this mission. They should start looking at the letter which we got from the Sudanese government. I mean, the Secretary General of the United Nations got from the Sudanese government, where the Sudanese government asked for an assistance mission. I mean, it's not that the United States or Germany or Russia or China or France decided that they want to have me here in the first place. There was a request, a demand from the Sudanese government to have an assistance mission. And they also outlined what they want to have assistance for: political transition, peace process, peace building, and economic support from outside. And these have become the 4 strategic pillars, or the 4 strategic tracks of the mandate under which I am working. Now, how could I sort of impose my will on the Sudan? I cannot. I can give good advice. I can make advocacy. I can raise my voice. That is my strongest weapon, actually, what I have to say. And I can report, as you already said, I can report to the Security Council. And I can bring in expertise, technical experts, can raise some money, can have the UN agencies agree on certain projects, on coordination with the government. That is what we are doing. But the moment the government of Sudan does not want us to work here, we are out. Actually, we will also be out, and that's quite interesting because this is rather new for the United Nations. We will also be out as UNITAMs once the transition period is over, because then our job has ended.
Yeah.
Once Sudan has a new constitution and there have been elections, then the transitional period, al-marhala al-intiqaliyya, will be over, and my mandate has ended.
Yeah.
And I hope I will see that, because that will mean that we have success, we as UN and the Sudan government and people.
Yeah, and we want also as Sudanese to see the day that we actually go and start election and start going voting our boys. And yeah, we hope that too. And thank you for clearing things up, because many people just misunderstand this kind of things. Even when you say to people that we are having those interviews, they say, okay, those are colonization mission here in Sudan. So we are sorry to hear those kind of things, but this is the rule of media.
No, I think it's good to talk about that, because some people think it is like that. Actually, some people invent it also and use it not against me.
Yes.
But they use it in internal domestic political struggles.
Yes.
They use it in order to accuse the government of bringing foreigners in. So, of course, I'm sometimes talking to these people who are spreading these kind of false statements about UNITAMs, and they would say, yeah, well, you know, it's a political struggle, and and it's a political struggle between the Sudanese. So sometimes we become an object of this struggle, but that would not make me stop doing my job here as assisting the Sudan, and not only the government, assisting all of Sudan on this path which you, the Sudanese, have chosen. That is, transition from civil war and dictatorship to democracy and peace. And I would add, democracy and peace will only succeed and will only be stable if we also have economic recovery. And therefore the last part of my mandate is so important, to help the Sudan to get economic support.
I think it's
and
the vital
from
one.
outside.
It's the vital one, Mr.
Well,
Volker.
they are all vital, and we cannot give priority to one over the other, because you're right, peace will not be stable without economic recovery and support, but also economic support from outside will not come if the country falls back into military conflict, or if the process of political change will be stopped.
And we hope that happens soon. And I want to agree with you in something. And this is the rule of media. And this is what we're supposed to be. To have this dialogue, to have this chat, to talk about what exactly, to highlight things, to raise awareness. This is what could help this country pass this hard time and pass this conflict time, and could go to the other level. Because if we follow everything that is in social media or in media in general, that will make people distracted from their main goal, which is the development of this country. Hopefully we see that soon.
No, it's definitely. I mean, the media, you're a part of this democratic exercise.
Yes.
And having media that gives real information that you can check upon, that's very, very important. And it's also training people's mind. I mean, people should be able to distinguish between media that bring information which can be checked, or people media who just produce rumors, as sadly often is the case on Facebook. Yes,
and we will keep even through Beladi Radio, through the news of Beladi Radio, through Let's Have a Chat, through other programs, and we will be keen on that, because as you know, the radio name is Beladi. So we need to make sure that we encourage people into go to the road of unity, into the forgetting about all our challenges, our own interest, our own things that we want to do. And the director signing to me, why do you sign to the time when I have something I want to see from my heart? so sometimes being mean. But as you say, Mr. Volker, we will keep on doing that, and we will keep on highlighting all the missing information and reflecting all effort that people need to know. So you answered this question, but we have 3 minutes actually to end this program. But we want to talk about, as you could mention again, the UNITAM's mission will be ended as soon as this transition government ends, right? Or
the transitional period ends, yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
And there is also this another question, which is there is no military attaché or mission will come to join this mission.
No. There was a military mission, as you know, in Darfur, UNAMID. Yes. Their mandate has ended. They are withdrawing. There was a lot of discussions whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing, but it is a decision that has been taken last year by the Security Council, and it is now implemented. And we are here as a mission without a military force. We will not have a military force. We are not supposed to do what UNAMID did, that is, for example, physically protecting camps of displaced persons. This is the responsibility of the government. And we can perhaps help the government to do that, giving them advice, training police, etc. We can also work on protection by working with women's networks, youth networks in the camps and in the communities, speak about early warning, bring communities together, help reconciliation. But we will not have a military force.
And that will lead me to ask you of a question about the women's role in the new cabinet and also in the parliament. Are you going to support, and also youth, as you can see, they are excluded right now from the government as a full. We don't see much youth there, and even the people who start the revolution themselves. So are we going to see support of a role of youth and women in joining the parliament, in joining the formation in new position in the future, stuff like that?
Well, look, to be very honest with you, we are pushing for having the role of women in the institutions which you as Sudanese have agreed upon in the Constitutional Declaration, like 40% at least women in the Legislative Council. So yes, we are repeating that and saying the Legislative Council should be established and it should be 40% women. With the youth, it's a little bit more complicated. I mean, I'm not saying you should have a prime minister who is 17 years old or so. So youth sometimes has to make its influence felt not by becoming a minister, but by doing things, organizing civil society networks, setting up organizations, organizing in parties, which I think is very, very important. Because you will have elections, you will have free elections at the end of the transitional period. So don't leave the parties to the old people. Go and become members of the parties. Go and set up civil society organizations. Make your voice felt. And here sometimes we can offer support as United Nations for networks of young people. But I'm not demanding that people who are 18, 19, 20 years old should be Minister of Finance or Minister of Interior or Minister of something else.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here today and helping us in our campaign of building positivity among all Sudanese people. And if you have a final message you want to send before we end this episode.
Well, my message is we are in that together. I mean, this is about all of Sudan. It is not about one part of Sudan. And we do see, sadly, that the Sudanese have been rather united in their revolution, but now there are cracks between different camps. And this is not good for Sudan. You are in a very challenging period, but I think we can reach something very, very positive, but it means that the Sudanese have to stand together and do that together and accept that this Sudan is a wonderful mosaic of different people from different regions with different languages, with different backgrounds. So work together and make this mosaic a real model for the world.
And we hope so I'm sure that we will see the day that we could stand alone, we could be the country that we dreamed of, and we don't need the help from anyone, and we could be the country that one of the leading country, and we end hunger, and we fulfill our SDGs and do all the perfect things that we need to do for Sudan. So again, thank you so much for being here in Beladi Radio for the first time, and I hope that it will not be the last time. We could see you again and again in Beladi Radio and in Let's Have a Chat. So you were with me, your host Marwa Khalid at Beladi Radio in Let's Have a Chat, and goodbye.